Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a patch 10.20 meta snapshot or tier list. So right now I am currently rank 1, so hopefully this has some weight. As some of you guys already know, real quick, I'm just going to touch on it real quick so I don't get spammed in the comments. I got my Twitch channel banned for 7 days, but I talked to Twitch about it. They agreed to reduce my ban to 3 days, so I'm going to be back tomorrow, October 3rd. At around 6 p.m. EST. I don't really want to get too much into it right now because I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say. It's my fault, and it's something really stupid, but it's my fault. But anyway, let me just get to the content. S is going to be Spirit Aphelios and Ashe. A is going to be Ahri, Spirit Zed. A- is now Dusk Riven, and B+ is Enlightened Talon and Sharpshooters. There's a lot of situational comps, so I don't really give this a tier. It's not going to be like a B-. It's not just like in descending order or anything, but reroll Duelist, reroll Mage, reroll Veigar, reroll Diana, reroll Katarina, and reroll Wukong. It all depends on your openers and what items you have, because if you get an opener for it and you have perfect items for them, and you can win streak while playing the comp, it's actually a guaranteed top 4, and it's easily probably like an A tier. But I'm not going to do these because it's pretty situational. If one of these builds interests you, I'm sure you can probably just go on YouTube, like reroll Veigar, or like just, you can probably find a guide for it. I'm going to start introducing the comps. So I'm going to start with Spirit Aphelios, and then I'm going to go Spirit Ashe. But anyway, Spirit Aphelios is this. Keep in mind that you don't need Moonlight Chosen. A lot of times you are actually slow rolling on level 5. When I say slow rolling, a lot of people ask me this question. Slow rolling is just rolling above 50. So you can keep on making eco and slow roll. A lot of times with this comp, you're actually going to get really low, but it's okay because this comp just wins out once you hit Aphelios 4. Some other things are you can slow roll on 5 for Dyna and Lissandra if you don't find a Moonlight Chosen, and then you can only fit Mystic at 8. Keep in mind that at level 8 also, like even a random Sejuani too, just random frontline units are really strong. Cassiopeia can easily be Janna, stuff like that. Janna's actually bugged right now, so it's 50 mana instead of the intended 60. So if you're rerolling and you just see infinite Jannas, I would not mind going for a Janna 3. I'll explain the positioning in a sec, but also GA on Ahri is really important for frontline because it allows you to get the cast off as soon as the fight starts and buff your entire team's attack speed with Spirit. The positioning for Yuumi is Diana and Yuumi on the same side, because how Yuumi works is it targets the lowest health member and then it dashes to the farthest unit. So a lot of times if you put Teemo and Kindred, which are generally going to be the lowest health units, it'll heal this and then it'll heal the Aphelios. But you need to have Diana on the same side as Yuumi, because imagine if Diana were over here jumping, it would heal Teemo or Kindred, and then instead of healing Aphelios and giving attack speed to Aphelios, it would give attack speed to Diana. And the attack speed on Aphelios is super important. Another thing that you can flex is the Aphelios items. I watch Hella Solos' stream. He's actually a really good player, probably one of the more underrated players. This rat just goes 20 out of 20 of Aphelios and bullies people off the comp. He basically realized that the only item you actually need on Aphelios is Ginsu. The GA and QSS does work together and is probably the best in slot when you're Aphelios 4. GS, Last Whisper, Deathblade, there's a lot of good items. You just need one of the defensive items and that's fine. But generally, if you're going for the win, I think all 3 is valuable. You can even go like Spirit, Kindred if you're losing HP early. You can even go Hunter Kindred to stabilize. Blue buff on Yuumi is really strong for a more consistent cast on Aphelios because you can actually control Yuumi more than the fight RNG. And the last thing is a lot of times on 3-1, which is post Krugs, you actually, if you're like below 60 HP, I wouldn't even mind rolling for an Aphelios 3, and it's BF for chain start because you need 2 GAs, 1 GA for Ahri and 1 GA for Aphelios. Recommended. Caesar is good on Diana, but you can also do it on Lissandra. That is going to be Spirit Aphelios. Next is going to be Ashe. So Ashe changed a little bit this patch. Set did get nerfed a little bit, but also I think Elderwood, I changed my opinion. I think Elderwood is really strong. If you can get an Elderwood spat and you can get a chosen Elderwood, you almost always want to look for 9 Elderwood. The 9 Elderwood, especially on Elderwood set, is almost an insta-win. You can even Elderwood Cane. If it's Elderwood Cane, I'd probably go Red Cane instead of Blue Cane. The best in slot, you can actually, there's merit to Trapclaw over QSS, but I still think QSS is a little bit better than Trapclaw. It's not as 80-20 as it was last patch, but I still think QSS is better against like the Aatroxes, the Sejuanis, and stuff like that. GS is really good. I actually think Hodge might be better than Ginsu. I'm not sure. Also, Deathblade is really good, but the reason I'm not going to put Deathblade here is because you need to use 2 BF swords and you're already using a BF sword with the GS. But how the comp works is you can flex between, a lot of times your mid-game transition is going to be 6 brawlers, and then you slowly cut the brawlers for higher cost units, and you usually end up with 4 brawlers, and you can also pivot into 6 Elderwood. A lot of people ask me about early game chosens. A lot of times I sell an early brawl, like I'll use an early brawler early game, or I'll use an an early Elderwood such as Elderwood Maokai, but I would usually toss it before rolling, and I'd be willing to re-pick up like a New Chosen or like a Warwick Chosen Hunter. There's just going to be a lot of options at later levels, so you're willing to sell like Maokai Elderwood, Maokai Brawler. You basically just want to play strongest board, 4-5 it or 4-1 it, roll a little bit at 4-1, and during carousels, you just go for the Ashe items, and everything else doesn't really matter as much. The comp is pretty straightforward. I don't really know if there's any tips here. Next is going to be Ahri. So the reason Ahri is actually really close, or is actually, I think, better than Spirit Zed, is because Ahri's early game opener is so insane. So I really like Glove Opener. I think I was talking about it in my item guide. A Glove Opener gives you the opportunity to nullify shit items, such as Negatron, Belt, and Tier. You can make Hodge, you can make Trap Claw, you can make QSS, but also a Jeweled Gauntlet TF, especially a Chosen TF, or especially a TF with 3 Mage splashed, is going to get you into 4-1 with at least 80 HP, because Jeweled Gauntlet's value early game is so insane, and Ahri is is the best Jeweled Gauntlet holder. But anyway, this is going to be the comp. That's why Ahri is so strong right now. Don't let it fool you. I think Sejuani is the MVP of the comp. The Ahri items don't matter as much, and also I'll explain the Yuumi positioning in a sec. It's the same thing as Aphelios. How it works is if you have GA, you don't have to worry about Shades or Assassins killing Ahri. She'll cast after GA, and if she gets aggroed on, she'll cast even faster. Basically how it works is if you hug everything left side, it'll heal the lowest, and then it will always go to the furthest, which is always Ahri, giving her attack speed for a faster cast in pushing Spirit on your entire team. Other items for Ahri that could work are, I like GA for sure. I think GA is the best item for Ahri, but I think blue buff is okay as a replacement for GA, by the way. I don't think if you have blue buff Ahri, I would actually like hug more Vanguards down here and just solo front like Sejuani. So it would be like Hecarim, Yuumi, Thresh, Cassiopeia, stuff like that. But Ginsu is fine, Rabadon's is fine. I wouldn't recommend Morello. I think Morello is better on Sejuani. Ginsu, blue buff, GA, Jewel Gauntlet, even Gunblade, it's not that good. Ludens is okay, stuff like that. You can also flex between 6 Vanguard. If you get Vanguard Chosen at 8, you can just put in a Garen or Wukong for 6 Vanguard. You can flex Mystic. If you get a Vanguard Chosen or a Mystic Chosen, you just go to 8, drop the Hecarim if you got the Vanguard Chosen, and then add 2 Mystics. Or if you got a Mystic Chosen, you just level and add a Mystic. You can even go 4 Spirit, so you can go 4 Vanguard, 2 Mystic with 4 Spirit. If you have like Yuumi, you just level for Teemo. There's a lot of options that you can do. I really do think that the 4 Spirit is the strongest. It feels really good. I think Sejuani actually casts like 10 times and gets to a point where like Sejuani can almost perma stun. The Yuumi positioning, I think I already explained. Getting attack speed on Ahri is super valuable. It's usually a glove or a rod opener with a Vanguard frontline opener. And next is going to be Spirit Zed. So Spirit Zed, it's the same thing with Yuumi, by the way. I'll give you like how it works. Is if these jump to the opposite side, Yuumi will almost always heal Team or Kindred first, and then jump to the opposite side with Zed. Don't get me wrong, BT isn't bad on Zed. It's just that RFC and QSS are better. So your Zed 100% needs RFC. And then the other 2 items are pretty flexible, but I think QSS is really good as well, because a lot of times you're getting stuck on Vanguard CC, or you just get randomly like CC'd by Lilia and stuff like that. Lilia, Nami, all that garbage. So RFC, QSS for sure. The last one can be Ginsu, BT, GA, IE. I wouldn't recommend Deathblade because he has so much AD already, so it's actually kind of just like a wasted item. But there's a lot of good options. How it works is you just slow roll. Usually you play this comp when you find Chosen Zed, by the way. You can force this comp with without Shade Zed, but not only do you miss out on 3 free Zeds, you're also missing out on the 4 Shade potential and the earlier 3 Shade potential, but it is still playable. I think this is easily an S tier comp if you have Shade Zed and if you have a bow opener, but usually you want to slow roll on 6 or 7 depending on your board, and GA Ahri is really important for the team's boost in attack speed as early on as possible. You can also go like Spirit and then drop one of the worthless Spirits, and then you can run stuff like a turn earlier, but generally Shade Zed is the move. Late game, your toughest matchup is probably Aphelios, and you want your Zed to be on the same side as Aphelios. Next is going to be Dusk Riven. So Dusk Riven is one of these comps that can easily be an S+ comp. It's a comp that last patch, this board that I'm about to show, this board is easily going to be able to get you to a top 4, but now this board is usually a 4th or a 5th. But last patch it would be a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. So 6 Dusks definitely did get tuned down a little bit. The more Dusks you have, a lot of people ask me about Riven items. The more Dusks you have, the more defensive Riven can be. And also Jhin, even though Ginsu isn't best in slot, usually you're just stuck with like a random bow, random rod, and you're just going to put on here. You can do like Ionic Spark. I talk about it in the Chosen guide for Riven items. There's like Hodge is fine, Spark is fine, Blue Buff is fine, GA is fine, Titans is good. There's just infinite items you can put on Riven. The reason this comp can be an S+ comp is usually with these defensive items, you can streak so hard early game with like a frontline Garen, a frontline frontline Kench, a frontline Ken, and a frontline Jarvan. It's one of the stronger mid games that you can do. And how it works is you can go 9 and you can actually just drop your entire board for just all the legendaries. If you have a Dusk spat, you can go like Dusk Kayn, Dusk Set, and then you can start like swapping out of the stuff. Also keep in mind that the Cultist is actually not that valuable. I think Sejuani is just 20 times of a better unit than Aatrox. Generally, you need a backline DPS. A lot of times people hit 6 Dusk, have like perfect item Riven, they're like, oh, why am I getting 5th? It's because you don't have the backline DPS. The Jhin is actually really valuable. It's just going to be a high roll early game. Usually if you high roll early game, how you win with the comp is you go 8 at 4-5, you sit, you roll a little bit at 5-1, probably try to stay above like 40 gold, and then you can 9 at 5-5, and then go for the legendary units there. But you're going to be bleeding a lot of HP from 5-1 to 5-3, and you should be able to afford it because you played a stronger opener with cultists and defensive items on your cultists. And now moving on to the B+, it's going to be Enlightened Talon. So Shen recently just got buffed, Yone just got buffed, but I still think this comp is not that strong. A lot of times Talon gets stuck on a random Vanguard. It does have potential. If you high roll your way into it, you're going to play it, right? Like if you have like the infinite PS swords, infinite gloves, and you just have a random Morello, it's fine to play. You can flex 6 Enlightened, you can go 4 Sin, you can like get a chosen Sin, you can play Katarina, you don't even have to run Yone. A lot of times the win con of this comp though is going to be Morgana 3 or Talon 3. And that's the issue with the comp. Lux is low-key a smurf. This positioning is good with Shen because a lot of times the front line clumps around Shen and then Lux gets a really nice ult. There's not much to say about the comp. It's you roll on 4-1, you want to 8 on 4-5 if possible, otherwise you're 8ing on 5-1. Yone items are pretty valuable, like blue buff is good, but I wouldn't even mind not running Yone and just running a Enlightened if you get Enlightened chosen, a Sin if you're running Sin chosen. On like the 20 times, 30 times I played this comp, this is my positioning every time. There's not, I just sit with this positioning and just AFK. Later into the game, you want your Talon to actually reset on a weaker unit and then jump to the better unit. But obviously if it's like Ahri, since Talon jumps to the unit that does the most damage, Ahri usually doesn't do the most damage until it ults. So like sometimes you want to target the Talon. Just be careful of like Kanes and stuff on your Morgana, but you should be good. Morgana will almost always cast once or twice. Well, it'll always cast once, but if you get it away from Kayn, it'll almost always cast twice. And the last comp is going to be Sharpshooters. So Sharpshooters is one of those comps that recently did get nerfed, but I still think it's going to be really strong. Like randomly in mid game, it just completely 20-0s my board, and I'm just sitting here like, what the hell even happened? It's like super hard at level 7, but the reason I think it's so low is because it's super awkward on what you can do at 8. You actually cannot put anything valuable at 8. So obviously at 9, you can go like 4 Vanguard. You can go like Aatrox plus another Vanguard. Or at 9, you can even go like Yuumi plus like a Mystic with Zillion or something. But usually you're going to be capping yourself at 7. The win con of the comp is actually Jinx 3 or Chosen Jinx. I think I said in the last guide, the higher cost the Sharpshooter chosen, the better. So if I find Nidalee or Vayne, it's actually not that valuable. I'm not just going to be like, it's time, Sharpshooters. But if it's like Teemo, Jinx, Jhin, like I'm down. Like I'm definitely thinking about it, especially Jinx. I think Jinx is the carry more than Jhin, but keep in mind that if you're running Teemo Chosen, it does have reduced mana, so it is a faster Spirit proc, so I wouldn't mind splashing Spirit ASAP at 8. But also keep in mind that you don't have to run Sejuani Thresh. I think Sejuani is low-key like one of the best units in the game. Not even low-key, everyone already knows it. Sejuani is actually really strong after the buffs last patch. You basically just want to run Dusk, so you can actually go like Kennen Riven. You can even go 4 Spirit if you have a GA for your Ahri and you high rolled like the Kindred mid game and stuff like that. So keep in mind that you can go the 2 Vanguard version, the 2 Keeper version with Riven for Dusk, and you can also go Spirits and just not run Dusk. But keep in mind that if you're running Spirits, you do need GA. But generally, this is just going to be the positioning. There's not much to say. I think the comp can only win and can easily win if you do hit Jinx 3. Anyway, that was my tier list. I've been bored, so I got you guys. Peace.